What is money? We all want more of it. We all need it. We all use it. We need to know what it is. Everybody talks about it, sort of. It's a taboo topic, so we don't really talk about it. So what is going on with all this paradox? Is it dollars? Is it pounds, euros, pesos, Bitcoin, cigarettes? What is money? Well, money is basically anything that is an agreed upon use of payment. So it could be anything. It could be seashells. In prisons, it's sometimes cigarettes. So in the United States, we have US dollars. And it used to be paper and coins, but now it's more credit cards and bank accounts, zeros and ones in a computer. So it's helpful to think about the three kind of characteristics of money that economists talk about. So the first is that it's a medium of exchange. So it means that we can use money. It's an agreed upon substance or thing that we're going to use for goods and services, to pay for things. So money is used to pay for things. Now, this is helpful because there's no need to barter when we have money. Before money, if I wanted something that you had, then I needed to give you something that you wanted. We needed to trade. But what if the value of our things weren't the same? That's hard to do. Money helps get rid of that. Now, speaking of things aren't worth the same, the second characteristic of money is that it's a unit of account. And unit of account just means we can account for things. We can account for it. So you got two different things. And because we're going to measure, in the United States here, we use dollars. We're going to measure things in a common unit. Then we can learn which things are more valuable or worth more than other things. We're measuring the value of things using the same unit of measurement. All right, and then the third characteristic of money is that's the store of value. It helps transform money through time. The time value of money, economists and financiers tend to talk about. Basically, it means it holds its value over time. If I use something perishable, say, I don't know, meat, that's not a good store of value. It's not a good use of money because I can't use that same money in a week, and certainly not in a year. So we want it to hold value over time. And what that does is it helps us save our money for the future. And it helps us, through lending and borrowing, it helps us get access to future spending now. So it transforms, moves transactions through time. So it can shift this spending through time. Now, today, we can save this money for future uses tomorrow. And we can also use somebody else's money today and use future money to pay them back. That's called debt. Let's talk a little bit more about debt. Debt is basically the intersection of people who have too much money and people who don't have enough money. And this is where lending comes in. That's effectively what debt is. It's lending. So people who have money can lend it to those who don't, or people who don't have it can borrow it from people who do. This is a good, efficient way to get money to who needs it the most. Now, there's a cost of money, and that cost is called interest. So there's an interest rate. Let's take a look at this a little bit more. If I borrow money, I'm a borrower. I need money for a house. I can't save up to get a house. It would take me forever. So I borrow some amount of money that I get, and then I have to pay back the money from the loan. And the difference between how much I got and how much I have to pay back is called interest. And that's basically the cost of me getting access to money that I didn't have. Okay, to say again, if I don't have money and I want access to somebody else's money, I have to pay for that access, and that access is called interest. Now, the opposite is true if I'm lending money. I pay money, I lend money to somebody, I buy a bond, I put my money in a savings account, and then eventually I get this money back, and I get more money back. So I was being paid to let other people use my money, and that's called interest. So it goes both ways. But if you're on the borrowing end, if you're on the receiving end, we got to be careful. We have to be careful because the more debt you have, the fewer options you have. Because every dollar that you borrow has to be paid back with interest. So the more debt you get, and the more debt you get, and the more debt you get, a bigger chunk of your income is going to be used paying back just the interest. So be careful on the borrowing side of debt. Lend away. You know, so you can save your money and lend away. That's no problem. But being on the receiving end is dangerous. So that's what happens when we have too much money or we don't have enough money. But how do we earn it? How do we bring in more money? There's an author named Vicki Robin who wrote a book called Your Money or Your Life, and she says that money is something that we trade our life energy for. Now, this is obvious if you work hourly. I go to work for an hour, I make $10 or $20 or whatever people make now. It's kind of the same concept, though, with salaried people. I go to work, and you give me regular paychecks. I do something, I trade my skills, I trade my knowledge, I trade my time, I trade my expertise in exchange for money. But this is important to keep in mind because money is not free. So we have to do something for this money, which brings into questions how much is enough? How much do I need? Because at the end of our lives, we don't want to say I spent too much of my life energy earning money that I didn't need for no reason. Okay, so money is something that we trade our life energy for, and we can make this more efficient. Right? So I can trade my life energy for $10 an hour, but I can also trade my money for $20 an hour, or $50 or $100 an hour, $200 an hour. How do I get more money in exchange for my life energy? Well, I have extra skills. I have a specific set of skills or a specific skill that's in demand. Effectively, how we make money is we trade this life energy to someone, a customer or an employer that wants to pay for it. So the way that we can get more efficient at this, get more money for the same unit of life energy, is to get more skills. Now, there's a perception that the more skills we have, the more valuable our human capital is going to be. Human capital is just the value of our life energy. But it's better than this. It's better than this because it's actually exponentially growth. And you don't even have to be really good at any particular skill. If you've got the right combination of skills that you're good enough at, you're going to see exponential growth here too. So that's how you can make more money per unit of life energy. But what do you do with that money? How much is enough? How much do you need? Say you did a really good job of collecting all this money, right? You did your work, you traded your life energy for a bunch of money, and now what? Well, suppose you're alone on a desert island somewhere. What good is your money here? Right? It's worthless. Money is not a goal. Money is just a tool. Because by itself, it's worthless. For our friend here on the desert island, he can't use it. You know, characteristic number one, it's a unit of exchange. He can't exchange this money with somebody in exchange for anything else. He can't lend this money to somebody. He can't give this money away. He can't do anything with this money. It's worthless by itself. It's only valuable in how we use it. So how do you want to use it? Many people float through life doing what they think they're supposed to do, the so-called keeping up with the Joneses effect. But it pays to make sure we know what we're doing with this money. Because remember, it's worthless in and of itself. It's only valuable in how we use it. Philosopher Alan Watts once said that money is to wealth the same way a menu is to food. A menu is not food. It just indicates what kind of food you can get. In the same way, money is not wealth. You can only become wealthy or have a meaningful life by how you use it. So if you take the wrong path and you go down the road of things you think you're supposed to do, you're going to end up towards regret. Bronnie Ware wrote a book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. Regret number 1 is I did what I thought I was supposed to do. Regret number 2 is that I worked too much. This is the path towards regret. Now, if we connect with our values, connect with our sources of meaning, that's where we're going to get happiness. That's where we're going to get a meaningful life. So money can be used intentionally as a tool to create meaning and purpose. You get one life. Live intentionally. Greetings, Derek again. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn more, please head to meaning.blog, and there you can learn about all things related to money and mindset and purpose and meaning. And you'll be able to find out how we might be able to work together. You'll find more articles. You'll find links to videos. You'll find online courses, all kinds of things to get you going on your journey towards living more intentionally.